Hi, thanks for coming on. Andy speaking. 10th of January, just gone 7. There's nothing in the game that's kicking off in a minute. The Hamilton Partick game. I think we're going to require a huge element of luck this weekend to end up with any bets. I think the weather is going to decimate the coupon. It really is that. I mean, it is that bad. There's no getting away from it. It's England. I mean, obviously we got the FA Cup, which doesn't help. But I mean, if we were to look tomorrow in League One at the moment, we've got 3 games on: Rotherham, Bolton, Blackpool, Cambridge, Stevenage, Burton. Absolutely no interest in any of those games whatsoever. If we go into League 2, we've got games at Grimsby, Walsall, Wimbledon, Gillingham and Swindon. Port Vale, Barrow has been called off. I mean, we were all set for a decent bet on Port Vale because, I mean, Barrow's away from Port Vale. They've had a horrific run, but they've just turned a corner. I think bookmakers were slow to catch up, and they were a decent price. I think they were 19 to 20. They were 0.95, and we made them a heck of a lot shorter than that, and I'm upset about it. So there's just absolutely no point in covering England. I mean, if you look at the National League, I think there's games on at Aldershot, Boston and Yeovil. I'll be amazed if Yeovil's on, actually, but we'll see. And, you know, National League North, Hereford's off, Brackley, Curzon, Darrant. There's a raft of games, and I mean, Scottish League 1, there's a couple of games off there. League 2, there's 2 of the 5 off there. So it's a very, very tricky coupon. So I'm not going to bother covering anything in England. We're just going to do Scotland of what there is. And I have to say, it isn't great, but it's one of those things. There's nothing we can do about it. It's, you know, you just got to, like I always say, you've got to play the hand you're dealt. And, you know, I mean, we've had a good start to the year, and just a shame. This is a time when I used to do this solely as a living. When I'm not going to say panic set in, but if you'd had a bad run, so I don't know, say you've gone 3 or 4 weeks of not winning, which anyone can do. I mean, that's easy to do, isn't it? You know, and then you get 3 weeks like this. All of a sudden, you're virtually 2 months and you've not made a penny, and then you start thinking about things more. And once you start thinking about things more, you become overly involved, and you make bad decisions. And you know, I'm saying that from experience. And so, I mean, let's just concentrate on Scotland. Let's hope what games are on at the moment are on tomorrow. I don't expect they will be. It's like Forfar. Is that going to be on? I wouldn't have thought so, but it's at the moment it's on. But let's go through them anyway. We'll start in the Premiership. Ross against Celtic. 3-4-4 at home. 4 unbeaten Ross. 1-3 and drawn 1 of the last 4. They're going along nicely. There's 8.5 points in them if you want to back them. It's a cracking price, isn't it? 16 to 1. Celtic, I mean, the only defeat was at Rangers. They've drawn at Dundee United. Very, very difficult to see anything other than a Celtic win. If you had to play in the game, Celtic won here 2-1 earlier in the season. And if you look at Ross at home, the only time they've been beaten by more than 1 goal here was 3-0 by Rangers. And they've played 11 games at home, so just do bear that in mind. They drew with Dundee United, only went down by the odd goal to Aberdeen when they were in form. They've beaten Motherwell, Dundee and Kilmarnock here, and they've only lost 4 games. Yeah, I'd expect Celtic to win. I'm not saying for 1 minute you should consider backing Ross, but they don't generally get thumped here, bar that 1 game against Rangers. Celtic only won here 2-1. There have got to be some tired legs in both of these sides. So I don't know. Maybe Celtic to win by 1 goal if you wanted a bet. I mean, that's what I was sort of because I think it's on the telly, and I was just going to throw a couple of quid at Celtic to win by 1 goal, Celtic to win by 2 goals. I've not even looked at the prices, but it was just an interest bet when the telly's on. I'm talking pennies in relation to proper bets. Hibernian Motherwell 55-28-17. Massive corner turn by Hibs. Been impressed, I have to say. They seem to have lost a bit of that flakiness, which I've always spoken about, and they're starting to look an okay side. And I think if they can, if you look at the last 8 games, won 5, drawn 2, lost 1. I think the loss was away at Celtic as well, so no shame in that. I'd expect them to win tomorrow. I just think that it's a massively short 4-6. Motherwell as ever up and down. Last 8, won 3, drawn 3, lost 2. I think they lost away at Hearts, didn't they? And away at Celtic, those two. I'm sure they did. If I had to bet, I'd back Hibs, but it's just far too skinny, isn't it? St Mirren against Dundee United, 40-27-33. Wouldn't really want to back either of these. St Mirren, they got a right. St Mirren is 6th, at home to teams 7th and above. They've won 2, lost 4. Against teams 8th and below, they've won 3, drawn 2, lost none. So you can sort of see a bit of a class barrier with St Mirren. It's pretty similar as well, the away form. Teams above them played 5, lost 5. Teams below them won 3, drawn 1, lost 2. So 6th is about where St Mirren are in the table, if you like. So Dundee United are 4-4-3 on the road. Away to teams outside the top 5. Well, I'll tell you, against the top 5 away, they are 0-1-3. Against teams outside of the top 5, they're 4-3-0. So you can see why we've sort of ended up with a bit of value in each of these, and that's a short price, isn't it? But I do think that this game has draw written all over it. Aberdeen against Hearts, 40-26-36. Aberdeen have just nosedived. It's absolutely incredible what had happened. They were 10-1-0 after the first 11 games. Just remember that. They'd won 10, drawn 1, lost none. 10-1-0. Since then, there's 0-3-7. Had that been 6-4 back in November, we'd have probably priced this up at 4-6, because they were floundering at the bottom, couldn't find the net winner game for love and the money. I'd have snapped your hand off at that back then, but they have just gone off a cliff. Hearts, Neil Critchley's gone in, 2 defeats in the last 8. They did win at Dundee United, beat Motherwell. If I had to bet, I would probably just side with Hearts, only because there's a bit of value in, but you just can't touch these at the moment. I mean, we can only hope that it sorts itself out. I did get asked, or do I think as a manager? I mean, they've had a raft of injuries, Aberdeen. They've had a raft of injuries, but we'll see. I wouldn't know which camp to side with at the moment. Am I blaming the manager or am I blaming injuries? It could be one of the two, an element of each. I don't know, but let's just wait and see. But I couldn't begin to imagine backing Aberdeen at the moment. Rangers St Johnstone 75-16-9. They've got problems on the road for sure. I mean, that game against Dundee was absolutely awful. Yet they're 9-1 at home, 9-1-0 at home. You can't knock them at home. I mean, they've only shipped, I think, 3 goals all season at home. They've done Celtic 3-0. I mean, they'll splat this lot tomorrow, but I mean, they've drawn 2 and lost 6 of the last 8. St Johnstone. There's 15 points in, and that's why you're getting 15 points extra, because they got they got a 9% chance, and that's being kind. And the only reason they've got a 9% chance is because that's the most we go. You have to allow a certain percentage for a draw and an upset. But reality, I mean, I think that is probably near enough the right price in reality, but we can't go above that because we do have to play it. We've got to play everything to 100% book and with a straight bat. Rangers will win. I think they're mortgage job, but it's whether, it's just 2-17 is a ridiculous price. So's that. I think that's a ridiculous price. And as I say, I think they'll win. Celtic will win, I think, but as I say, I wouldn't play anything in this division tomorrow. But as I say, I shall watch that game and I shall just throw a few p at Celtic by 1 goal, Celtic by 2 goal. I'll see what the prices are. I've just had a look. Celtic to win by 1 goal is 7-2 and 2 goals is 100-30. I'm guessing if you were to Dutch that, you're looking at about maybe 5-4, just under, somewhere around that. But that'll do for me because it's an odds against bet and it's something to watch on the telly because I don't think we're going to be seeing a great deal this weekend, sadly. Right, Scottish Championship. These are on at the moment, as far as I know. Anything could be happening as I'm saying this. It could get called off. I don't know. But let's have a look. Hamilton against Partick, 33-26-41. When I was doing this, I was really hoping for a price on these. And I'll tell you for why. Because at home, they're 5-1-3. If you take the top 3 out of the equation, Falkirk, Ayr and Livingston, they're 5-1-0. And I knew this going into this game, and I was so hoping that the figures would fall favourable for us. They haven't. I'm absolutely gutted. I really, really am. I wanted to bet this before I worked it out because I knew what they were like at home. And we just can't go with that. At that, even if this was the only game that was on at the weekend, we couldn't go with that. As I say, I'm upset because when you get a team like this, they're 5-1-0, that automatically makes a strong case. The problem is that Thistle have drawn at Ayr, they've won at Queen's Park, and teams like that teams which are better than Hamilton. They got done here 1-0 earlier on in the season, but gave Hamilton a 5-1 thumping at their place. They let us down the other week, Thistle, as well. Very, very disappointed. I was really after getting them this weekend, but, you can see 5-4 is a joker price. That's an insult. I'm not saying they won't win, but, wow, I don't know. I might even lay that if it's around that because I really wanted to be with these, but we can't. It's like the other week. I said a couple of teams I really wanted to be with, but they were and both of them won, didn't they? It's sort of 5-2, 11-4, and this is another one of those games where I really fancy these very, very strongly, but the figures are saying no. And it's like this game. The figures tell us to back that, and we've got to, but that doesn't sit comfortable with me. That's like sitting there and not being able to scratch an itch. I'd happily back that. I'm not happy to back that, but we've got to back that because that, it's all dictated by that, and that's not bad in relation to that on a weekend like this weekend. So it's tad frustrating. I really did want to be with Hamilton. Falkirk against Queen's Park. 66-23-11, 8-1-0 at home. The only team that's got a point is third place Livingston. I'd expect more of the same tomorrow from Falkirk. I'd expect them to win. Queen's Park are 5th in the table, but on the road they're 3-2-5. The wins have come against teams placed 7th, 9th and 10th. Away to teams above them, the record reads 0-1-4. Falkirk ought to win this comfortably. Livingston Airdrie, you can look at it and say the wheels have come off slightly at Livy. 2 of the defeats have been against Queen's Park and Wraith on the road and Ayr at home. Whether you want to knock them for that is entirely up to you. I'm not going to. I think they're far too short tomorrow. They're 6-2-1. Airdrie bottom against the bottom 3 at home. It's played 3-1-3. Airdrie on the road is 0-1-9. The only point has come away at Hamilton. They've lost every other game. They've won one game all season, and believe it or not, that was the opening game of the season at home to Wraith when we were on them. They'll get turned over tomorrow. Now, whether you want to consider doing that as a double, it's something I might toy with. I mean, I'm not going to do a weekend double this weekend because we haven't got any football really. FA Cup in England has got absolutely zero interest for me whatsoever. And as I say, as far as the English football is concerned, we've got one bet only. I had 2 bets for us. Port Vale was one, and I gutted that off. We've got one bet in England, and that's it. So I might do that as a double. It's entirely up to you, but it's just an idea. Morton against Wraith, 42-25, 33. I mean, we backed Morton the other week, and they were, I think, what were they, 11-5, 13-5 or something, and they won for us. And we had the bet, it won. I was glad. We're back here again, backing them. I'm not happy. I don't like backing Morton. They're 4-3-2 at home. At home to teams in the bottom 6, they're 3-1-0. They haven't even shipped a goal. They beat Wraith 2-0. There's your case for Morton. Wraith on the road, 1-1-7. Away to the bottom teams below them. Played 3, lost 3. Not scored a goal. The case for Morton is rock solid. It's my mental state of backing Greenock Morton over the years. Never knowing what you're going to get. Dunfermline Ayr, 30-26-44. Now, if you're thinking that Ayr look good things, just take it steady. Because in the last 2 weeks, Dunfermline have come to life. They've got a 3-3 draw away at Falkirk, which I'm hugely impressed with. We backed Partick to beat them last week. They turned up at Partick and done them 4-1. Dunfermline, for some reason, I don't know, have woken up. There's nothing in them. Well, there's it's even if there was a slight spin, you couldn't do it at that. But Ayr on the road, a 3-3-3. They've only lost one of the last 8 games. That was 1-0 away at Partick. It was a draw here earlier in the season. It's hard. Again, this is one of those where part of me really fancies them at that price, but we can't go against the figures. And there's 2 bets there, Hamilton and Dunfermline. I mean, what I might do tomorrow, as I say, I might do a Falkirk Livingston double, and I might throw a few pennies at Hamilton and Dunfermline. That's a main bet, and I'll tell you that for nothing. So I'm going to be back in Morton properly. I might have a double there, and I might throw a few pennies at Hamilton and Dunfermline, like what I said about Celtic, purely and simply because it is going against the figures. But part of me is, I really do want to be with those sides, but I don't interfere with the figures, so I wouldn't make them proper bets. Like I say, it'd be small. Right, let's go on to Scottish League 1. 3 games on at the moment. Alloa, Queen of the South, 50-26-24. Alloa evens, we make them. They're available at 5-4. Now, before you think, oh crikey, that looks absolutely amazing. Yes, it's a good rating. It's got 0.25 in it. It's a value bet as far as we're concerned. I just want to say the majority of this bet is what I call sort of top heavy, and by that it's all come from there, because on the road they are 0-7. A terrible side on the road, Queen of the South. They're 6th in the table. If their home record is 1-7, drawn 2, lost 1, so they're 7-2-1 at home. They're 0-2-7 away. And it's the away form that is piling up this figure, because Alloa at home are 3-3-4. They are an unpredictable side. I mean, I think the last time they won, Alloa won at home, was against Annan, I think back in November. So that's why I'm saying this comes with a great deal of a warning. It looks good on the surface, but how you know how we've arrived at that figure, that is where you've got to start having some doubts. And you can't, as I say, you can't, the method used to come up with these figures has been used for over 30 years. I have, so it doesn't involve my own thought, but my own thought about this is I couldn't begin to imagine back in Alloa, just like I couldn't Morton, but the figures dictate we have to. I don't get personal with bets. It doesn't pay. Annan against Inverness. 3-3-3 at home, Annan. Inverness look like they're pulled away a bit from Dumbarton. They're 6 points ahead of them with a game in hand. I still think there's inconsistencies. But the fact they've won at second place Steny, fourth place Cove, they ought to get this done tomorrow at Annan. I just don't see them as an odds-on bet. I think they should be 11-10. To back them, I'd want 5-4. We're not getting that. We're getting 19-20. So they're 0.3 minimum underpriced as far as I'm concerned in terms of having a bet. It's a no-bet game. Kelsey against Stenhousemuir. Now, this game is supposed to be on TV tomorrow at 5:30, which I think is brilliant, because you go back a couple of seasons, both of these were League 2 sides. Now they're in League 1, and they're going to get some coverage, which I'm very, very pleased about. I campaign a lot for things like this and have done over the years. It's like I'm not going to take credit for this, but I campaigned massively for streaming before COVID. When I was writing for the paper, I said, why not stream these games? Charge us a flat fee or charge us a season ticket price. I campaigned long and hard for that, and they did it in COVID. I'm not going to say it was down to me or take any credit for it. That's not what I'm saying, and it was enjoyable, and because we just don't get to see these. We're reliant upon lots of other things, and it's sad, but that's just the way it is, and that's why I can't stand Premier League football, because it's all we get, and it's nothing more than a bloody circus. And this is what I call proper football, like I do League 1, League 2, National League. That's proper football. But Kelty Steny anyway, they're 5-3 at home. They beat Steny here 2-0 earlier in the season. Steny on the road of 3-2-5. I thought it was quite a tough game to assess. I really did. I thought bookmakers had it right. I mean, 6-4 we see Kelty there or thereabouts. That's what price they are. See them at 15-8. They're 9-5. So there's nothing there. Gut feel, I would probably just side with Kelty, but not with a great deal of confidence. The one thing that I'm not going to say would inspire me, but the one thing that I do like, they beat Arbroath 3-2 the other week here, and Arbroath are a better side than Stenhousemuir, so that could look fairly big. Right, just quickly, members' bets have gone out. I just wanted to say quickly that there'll be an update, because there's a team that's been supported, but I'm not going to say where. There's a team that's been supported, and I'm pretty certain that support is genuine, but I don't want it to be one of those where it's been moved in and then all of a sudden it drifts like a barge tomorrow morning and the other team's punted off the board. So I just want to keep an eye on that, and that at the moment is a member's bet, but I'm not going to give that one out until tomorrow lunchtime. So just for any members watching this, I have said it in the message, but I know that some people watch this first and look at the bets after, but yeah, just bear that in mind. Right, East 5 Clyde, 55-24-21, 4-5, then 19-20, 0.15 in them. Fabulous home record of 8-1-1. Played 10, won 8, drawn 1, lost 1. Dun Clyde here 5-1 earlier in the season. Clyde, been much better at home of late, but the road form they've yet to win. They're 0-3-6 on the road. They're not going to win the league. Every chance potentially to make the playoffs still, which you'd have to say, going back a couple of months ago, was incredible. And I hope so. I hope you've donated something. I have, and fingers crossed we can save the club, because that would be awful to watch them go. It really, really would. So hopefully Clyde have been saved. Well, you just don't know where the money's going at some football clubs, do you? But we have to think that it's being played with a straight bat. I could only see an East Fife win tomorrow. There's value in it. It's up to you. Edinburgh Peterhead 28-28-44. Peterhead favourites, rightly so. Don't think they warrant being odds on. Played 9 games on the road, won 3 of them, drawn 3, lost 3. Doesn't strike me as a side that warrants being odds on. Yeah, they slotted Edinburgh here earlier on in the season for nothing, but that was at a time when Peterborough were playing off the scale. And Edinburgh were in awful form. Since then, Edinburgh have really come to life. The fact that they've beaten Elgin here as well. I'm not saying that Edinburgh are going to win or Peterhead can't win, but I just don't see Peterhead at 19-20. How do you put a team in odds on away from home when they're only 3 points ahead of them in the league? Peterborough 3rd, Edinburgh 4th. And Peterhead have won 3 from 9 on the road. They've got a 33% win rate away from home, yet they're odds on. Don't understand that. You take that. If you're going to take that, go and book in to get your head seen to by someone in the medical profession, because that's a ridiculous price. I'd want 6-4 to back Peterhead, yet you're being asked to take 19-20. That is 0.55 under what they should be for betting purposes. They're 0.3 under the price they should be. And, it's, as I say, 0.55 under what they should be for a bet. So if you're considering backing Peterhead, give up. Forfar Elgin, 36-28-36. Forfar, bottom of the table. It's not looking good, I have to say. 3 wins all season, 1 in the last 8. They've beaten... The only teams they've beaten are 9th place Bonnie-Rig and 8th place Stranraer. It doesn't look good. Teams 7th and above, the record reads 0-5-10. I have deep concerns about Forfar Athletic. I really do. I think it'd be awful to see them go. It really would, but they're not offering anything. And I know somebody that saw them look bereft of confidence, yet they're putting here at 13-10. I think he's absolutely crazy. Elgin on. This is what I don't understand. Now, well, I do understand it, but I'm just going to say this. Elgin's record on the road is 3-3-3. Remember somebody else's away record that's 3-3-3? Peterhead's. Yeah, Peterhead are at 19-20. Peterhead are 19-20 against 4th placed Edinburgh. Elgin are second, away at bottom club Forfar, and they're a shade above 2-1. Can you see now how bad value that bet is? Not just bad value, that is awful value. Shocking, isn't it? But that, unfortunately, guys, is it. There is just nothing of excitement really, and it is just one of those weekends. Next weekend, I hope the weather is okay next weekend, because we got what I call the proper football back. We've been through the festive period of madness. First round of the FA Cup would have been dealt with, so next week we should be back to sort of normality, and hopefully the weather clears up a bit as well, because I was supposed to be going racing at Exeter on Monday, but I don't know whether that's going to be on or off, but hopefully it's going to be on. But that's it. I'm not going to any games this weekend. I shall watch the game in a minute, the Hamilton game, if that's on. the Ross Celtic game and the Kelty Sten Housemuir game. That's what I shall watch. And fingers crossed, members' bets go in. But it's one of those weeks I just absolutely hate betting. I really, really do. But if the figures tell you you've got to bet, you've got to bet. But just bear in mind what I said about the Championship, that double with Falkirk and Livingston and Hamilton and I can't remember the other team I said about backing. Was it Dunfermline? They're not bets to go on the account by any means, but they're bets that I fancy myself. But I'm no judge. It's all done by the figures. That's it, guys. Have a good week. I'll be back next time. Bye for now.